116th hotline.
It's Sadie.
It's Valerie.
And this is Sutana. And welcome back to our podcast. If this is your first time listening, welcome. And if this is not your first time, welcome back. So as you can see, we have a special guest.
Woo.
What's up, guys?
Please introduce yourself. Name, age, occupation. I'm just kidding.
I'm not giving you my age, but Brian Williams Jr., born and raised out of Oklahoma City, and I am a full-time teacher at Daniel Webster High School, which I'm a football coach there and track coach.
Ooh, nice. I feel like in Oklahoma, almost a lot of the teachers are coaches. Yeah?
Absolutely.
Kind of.
I agree.
Yeah.
A lot of the teachers
Majority
are coaches.
Yeah.
Before we get into the nitty gritty, Brian,
how do you know us?
Yeah, how do we know Brian? How do we know Brian?
How do we know you?
Are you just a random stranger here?
I ain't no random stranger. Oh, y'all want it really?
Yeah.
Hello. So Brian here is my boyfriend.
That's your man.
That's
That's your man.
And I'm
Thank you.
3 years, 7 months, and counting.
Oh!
He got the months down.
He got the months, he got the day, he got the hours, the minutes, the seconds.
But yes, so Brian here is my man.
That's your man.
Thank you for my man.
Thank you, my man.
Okay.
Thank you.
But yes, so we have been talking about how we wanted a male's perspective on things, just in general, and just as a guest. So we were thinking, I'm like, okay, who else better than
Your man.
I mean,
I feel like that sounds kind of biased, but
it's not. I know. Like
Okay, but why though? Why did we agree on that?
And yes, and not even being biased or anything, but because he is a person of color, and and as Sutana mentioned before on our podcast, we are big advocates for people of color, minorities, absolutely. So and I mean, it's I guess a little convenient as well. He's comfortable with us, we're comfortable with him to record together in Sutana's place household, so we decided to give it a shot, and we will see how it goes.
And Brian will be our first male guest.
Male guest.
How do you feel about that, Brian? How do you feel about that?
Is it a lot of pressure?
I was nervous, but now I'm actually good.
So how would you say is the difference between growing up and living in Oklahoma City versus in Tulsa?
Honestly, just born and raised out of Oklahoma City, you get the chance to, build relationships, with, kids your age, elders and all that. And honestly, I just want a different scenery. So it's just like, I'm just going to compare here. It's just like a lot of kids want to go to Langston. And
That's right.
I went. Colleges down the road.
Yeah,
right here actually.
I'm gonna pick that other college because I want to experience or meet new people,
something different
from other cultures and stuff like that.
So basically, it's like a lot of family that
it's a lot of family
and like people that you knew growing up. So you don't have any family here.
No,
you don't have any family here.
That's what I was gonna ask. Cause didn't you live in Muskogee for a minute too?
I did, and that was just because of college.
Oh, okay.
So what college?
4 years in Muskogee, going to Bacon College.
What is it called?
Bacon.
Like bacon,
just like
but with the E at the end.
At the end.
Oh.
And just for a little background for the girls, what exactly is Bacon College? It's more of isn't it a Christian college?
Bacon College is a Christian college, and it is on Indian grounds.
Okay.
I've never heard of it. College before.
I think it's a small.
It's right next to Muskogee High School.
Oh, okay. Never heard
Actually,
of that.
Muskogee High School just played at
the state.
State, and they won.
Yeah. They did win.
Oklahoma State championships?
Football, yeah.
So for football, yeah.
Our friend's little brother was on a team.
Yeah. Sydney was there the other day watching it.
Yeah, Sydney. That's right. Yes.
And speaking of Muskogee, they went on the last play of that game too. So
they did?
Yeah. Their defense, they locked in and they locked them up on the goal line. So
it was a tight game. It was like 26-28 or 24.
Okay, I was acting like she watches football. Like,
you know what they're saying?
Can you just pause here for a minute?
Oh my god!
Wait, did you say that Sydney went to actually?
Yeah, she wanted to watch the game because she asked me if I wanted to go. But I was telling them, I was like, I've never been to a football game before ever. Like no high school football game. No, like I've never been to a football game. No, never, ever.
Did they even have a football team?
Yes, they did. That's why every time Sadie always sends me videos of like her going to football games, I'm always like, oh, I want to to go. I've never ever been to one, so I'm like,
Wausau's right there. You could have just gone with me too.
Talking about football, so I see that that's one of your passions.
Yes,
football. So like, how did you get into it? And I see you're very, very, very passionate, obviously, because you're a coach too. So how do you think that has shaped your life, like having a hobby that you like to do?
Good interviewer question. Okay.
I got to think outside the box.
Well, my cousin Dominique Franks.
Shout out to Dominique.
Shout out Dominique.
Well, I just grew up watching him play football, and he went to the University of Oklahoma. Played defensive back there. And just watching him at a young age, that just made me fall in love with the game, and I want to follow him.
So have you been playing football since you were younger?
I've been playing football since I was 6 years old.
Great. Gotta get Levi and Athy on there.
No, seriously.
Nice.
Maybe not Levi, but Athy.
Athy very much so. I don't think Levi was interested in it as much.
No.
So when did you start coaching? Is that just when you started teaching that you started actually coaching? Or?
No, honestly, the coaching part of it came randomly.
Really?
So you didn't see yourself ever coaching? Did you ever?
I did in school, but that was probably the after graduation part. But it came sooner rather than later.
Okay. So it came when you least expected it.
Yeah, it came my junior year actually in college because I don't know if most people know this or not, but Bacon College is going through a big problem as far as financial wise. So we had to cut a few programs. Football was one of them. I'm getting kind of, teary.
We always okay. But I mean, I think you're getting emotional because Satana said it's so. You were so passionate about that.
It's part of who you are.
Part of who you are. Yeah. Part of what you wanted your career to be. Yeah. So of course, I mean, see, this is the reason why it's so important to see guys' perspective on things. Because I mean, I can guarantee you, if we're just sitting here having a conversation, that's something that would never ever cross our mind, right? As far as like you said, maybe a hobby, but. I know it's a hobby, but then maybe for some people, and maybe
that was their life.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just like the podcast is part of our life, right?
Right.
I feel like that's his thing is football is part of his identity.
Yeah, identity.
That's a good one.
Okay, right?
Okay, so going back to Bacon College.
Yeah.
Sophomore year came around. I played once junior year came around. There was a lot of things going around. So a lot of rumors as far as I don't know if you guys are going to be able to, continue playing, at this college because we don't know if the football program going to be here next year.
That was your junior year?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was coming up.
That's right when you were about to
but that was basically spring semester of my sophomore year. We've been hearing those rumors.
That
But
sucks.
when my junior year came, it was over with. They shut down football. They took rodeo away. And there was a few other sports. But right after that happened, it was basically a question mark above my head and what I wanted to do next.
So in that moment in your life, how did you feel? How did you feel during that transition period?
Lost for the most part. But as time went, I kind of redirected myself.
Yeah,
I feel
things happen when you least expect it.
Yeah, and I feel that's hard because you were already out there on your own.
Yeah.
You were out there literally on your own out there. And then you had a plan. You were in college doing the football thing, and then they just kind of took that from you. And then now you're just well, what's next? What the hell do I do?
Yeah, so it left some to transfer to other colleges with all their credits, but some transfer without all their credits.
That sucks.
I was one of those in the second,
without the credits.
Yeah, the second batch.
Shoot.
I had most of them, but if I would have transferred somewhere else, most of them would never transferred to that place.
So then you'd be starting from square one.
Yeah, I would have pretty much been starting from scratch. But I kind of kept my head down, and I just, I'm just stay here and finish it out. So once junior year came, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Once junior year came, I continued, going to classes and stuff like that. But then Fort Gibson came, and that's when I got into the whole Indian Nations Little League football program. And I started coaching through there, and that was my roommate. My roommate Graylin Dunham's.
Shout out Graylin.
We just had his newborn baby, by the way.
Oh, cute.
But anyways, we started coaching together in 2017 for Fort Gibson, and it was 6th grade. Right after 2017, we went with their 7th grade. Okay. And we just progressed from there.
Fort Gibson is a little town or city next to Muskogee.
It's like, right next to Muskogee.
It's kind of like Owasso and Collinsville.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Like yeah.
So you guys taught the middle school?
No, we did not teach. We taught most of the middle school kids, but it was just like on our own time.
Oh, it was like a separate
little league.
So we weren't getting paid
school.
for it. It was voluntary.
It's because you had the passion.
Yeah, as long as you have the passion, man, you can go for days.
Yeah, that's really it. I never knew that about you.
So kind of like backstory. Sorry, I just want to kind of dabble back into this. So what did you do after that? Like you finished school, or then you started doing the coaching thing on the side. So then how did you go from there, school in Bacone and Muskogee, to like Tulsa here? Like how did that transition from Muskogee to here? Like just another where you just decided?
If you add those two things together and then you want to add just being a retail worker as well. That's kind of like where I started.
Currently, you were working at?
I was working at Dick's Sporting Goods in Broken Arrow, which is kind of like a 30-minute drive every day from Muskogee to here. So, I kind of decided to, you know what, I'm going to move out on my own. And instead of having a roommate, I'm going to move to Tulsa, closer to work. So I did that, took that opportunity, and, it made the best of me. Well, it got the best of me, and it just made me think, like, what else do I want to do other than work in retail?
So do you feel like making that big move from Muskogee to Tulsa again, how do you feel like that has like strengthened you as a person? Like, do you feel like that move that you did, do you feel like would you have done anything different? Like, how did that change you?
Honestly, no, because I feel like that move kind of elevated me.
Yeah.
Nice.
You never know what you're getting into until you do it.
Yeah. And I feel like that some way in shape or form that kind of like made you have your own individuality and like take your power back, because like it's like you were getting hurdles upon hurdles and you're like, no, I'm making the decision. I have my life in my hands, so I get to decide what's going to happen in my life.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, I think it's... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I never see... That's so... I love it because like hearing it like from y'all's like... point of view, and then hearing him saying, I'm like, wow, I'm seeing it from a different like.
You're seeing it from a business and a personal different perspective.
No, like, and just in general too. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, even not like you said, maybe like seeing it from a what is that called?
A different perspective,
like a third point of view.
Yeah, like maybe not a business, but then maybe just like as an out person.
Point
not
of view, from like a romantic,
because you're in there already. Like you know him from your point of view, but absolutely not on. On the other side.
Honestly, I've never I knew that about you, Brian. That like you were kind of on your own since high school, because Sadie kind of told me a little bit about it, and then you were like on your own. You went to school there, and then now you're here. But I think it's just because like for us, like in our like cultural and like our community, like we're not really used to like going out on our own and living on our own like at all. Like we like to like stick to what we know and our comfortability. So I think it's good to hear from like a different perspective, like you literally going out on your own and living on your own. Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
And like, that's a brave thing to do.
It is a brave thing.
It takes a lot of courage.
Dude, just thinking about it, I'm like, I probably wouldn't have done it because I'll be like
straight up from high school. We couldn't do it. We couldn't do it because we're just not used to that. Like in our culture, like you said, like we're so much more used to like staying with our families and our elders, comfort zone, and then helping taking care of our elders and just kind of keeping that cycle, you know. Obviously now in the more modernized world, a lot of the Hmong people are doing that now, which
props to them.
I highly encourage.
I do too.
You know, it's kind of like the westernized American life, you know.
And I feel like whenever you do that, you kind of find yourself more and know what you like, know what you don't like, and you kind of like you're living your life for you, because then now it's your decisions and not your parents' decisions, you know.
I think it's a lot of like the parents thing too, like generational trauma thing, because the way how we see it is my parents would say that, you know, we don't want you to do that because, not because we're selfish and we want you to hang out with us and take care of us, but because we don't want you to go through the struggles of financials, you know, having to figure out things on your own. They very much want to just like kind of coddle.
But I feel like through that period though is where like you do the most growth and learning, you
absolutely
know? Like it freaking sucks having to figure out financials and rent and everything, like where the fuck am I gonna stay, how am I gonna get my next meal, like it sucks. But I think like breaking out of the Hmong cultural and all that, like I think it's a very important thing to do,
to, like you said, to literally find your strength, to find to find what you can and can't do, you know. Some people, they have like a, you know, pretty good balance of that. Like, for example, like, I mean, like, here we go again. I'm sorry, guys. but my parents, like, they really, because my parents coming from, like, literally, like, Thailand. It's so funny because yesterday, I was in the living room with my parents, and then we were watching some little Hmong documentaries, and my dad told me that, hey, we saw your uncle in this little documentary. So it was, you know, my cousin Paku, Nora? It was her dad. And then her little brother was literally, like, filmed and, like, born. Oh my God. It was from a documentary from Minnesota, because now a lot of people, Hmong people in Minnesota. So literally, and I could see my great grandma. Oh, it was so sweet. I was like, that's my great grandma on TV in Thailand when they lived in refugee camps, because that's literally my older brother. He was born in a refugee camp, right?
Yeah. And so he was born in the motherland.
And you know what I just found out too? My mom just told me yesterday. Now, when they were, because you remember that one time we were talking about like what year my parents came to the United States? 1994, right? Yeah. Literally, when they were on their way here on the airplane, my mom was pregnant with me in her belly.
Yeah,
my mom was 7 months.
Oh yeah, you could have been born in the motherland.
I could have been from the motherland. Yeah. And literally, like 3 months later, I was born in the United States. So I barely made the cut to be an American. It's crazy. But I mean,
what are your pronouns? USA.
Right? But then I guess my point of that is saying that like our parents, like in the Hmong community, they lived in jungles and refugee camps. You know what I'm saying? Like their lifestyle was like pretty much survival to the fittest, right?
Literally.
So that's why a lot of them now in the United States, they're like, we know now that we're in the free country, we want the best for our children. So that's the reason why a lot of them are very like attached to us. So whenever, you know, like they want to go off and be their own selves, they're like, I don't want you to go out into the world and, you know, just
stay here. Yeah,
you know
like just stay here.
I guess it just shows like the cultural differences. It's a huge thing, and I don't think a lot of people in America know and realizes that, because I think about like all the people that I work with all the time, and I get it. That's, you know, the same mind concept for their kids, but then they're very much like, okay, 18 at the house. You do your own thing. You figure your life. This whole life on your own. And I see a pros and cons in that. You know what I mean? On both sides.
So like I feel like it's very important to find a good balance to like, okay, you can do that, whatever, or like how about help me with the bills, like just so you can get a taste of it. But then I'm not gonna put you like submerged
on the street,
like, just on the streets, you know.
So okay, this may or may not be a personal question, Brian, but so was it your decision to like move out after high school and like just like go out and be on your own, or was your family like, all right, you're 18 now, like you're on your own? Like
that's a good question,
like because I don't know, because like some families, they are like, okay, do it
like a hard set.
Some people are like, all right, you just turn 18, get out, right? You know. So like
honestly, that's not how my mom was.
Okay.
I grew up in a single mom or parent household, and you know, I have two older siblings, one younger one. The youngest one just had a semi-playoff game yesterday. To get that game, or to get this conversation started, you know, I love my little brother. I had an older brother, but he passed away before I could even.
From your dad's side, right?
Yeah. He passed away before I can even like, you know, get the chance to, you know, see or talk to him or something like that, before I was even born. So I never got to actually, you know,
get to know him
like I wanted to. But yesterday, I don't know, it's something that hit me in the third quarter of his game. I can tell that, you know, the mistakes that he was making in the game, I can tell that this generation is different than ours was. And
for sure.
Saying that,
for sure,
is these kids, man, they don't have the mental toughness that we used to have and that they should have. And it all comes to, you know, what they do behind the scenes. And, you know, just seeing him break down crying in third quarter saying he don't want to play the game no more because he done threw like 3 interceptions or so. And, you know, he felt like the game was over, but he had another full quarter to play. Yeah. When I jumped over the fence and put his head on my shoulders and he crying and stuff, telling me that, you know, it kind of took a toll on me too, because, you know, me being at his age, I didn't have the opportunities he had as far as, you know,
support.
Support from an older brother.
Yeah.
You know, man.
But you know what? You should celebrate that too, because you were able to be there for him.
Yeah. I feel like in our podcast, like we just be our most authentic self.
Yeah. No, really.
And then like the vulnerability just takes over.
Well,
That's whenever you're the most.
It's because these are conversations and like having a safe space to talk about it. To talk.
That's why it's so important to just have these conversations.
Yeah, I think too, Brian, the reason why you're getting so emotional is because kind of backstory to you saying that like you never even met your older brother. So like you in that moment, I think you felt kind of sad because it's like you never had that. Bittersweet. It's really bittersweet. Like you never had that, and then like you got to be that for your younger brother, and then it kind of makes you sad because like you wanted that and you never had that. But like Sutana said, it should be a proud moment because like
be proud of yourself.
Be proud of yourself because you are that bigger brother for your younger brother. You know, so like I think
I most definitely am proud because when I jumped the fence, to continue with the story, sorry for all the tears and stuff, but when I jumped the fence and I had that little, you know, moment with him, he went back into the game and he drove the field and they scored. They went up by 2 and then
like in the last 12 seconds.
That's crazy. They played Kiefer last night. It was Millwood versus Kiefer 2A semi finals right before state. And you know, he felt like he let the whole team down with all the mistakes he made. So, you know, just to, you know, pick his head up and, you know what I'm saying, just spread those positive vibes and to see his teammates, you know what I'm saying, just support him and, you know, show him love and stuff like that. It kind of just gave me chills to see him in that fourth quarter just come back or put those points on the board.
Perseverance.
And then those 12 seconds happened.
Yeah, and, that's crazy.
You must be so proud. Proud of him. I'm
so proud of him because, like I said, I didn't have that support. And, you know, I just want him to know that I do love him. And I'm always going to be here no matter what. So,
that's a good big brother.
No,
that's a good big brother.
I think that's so amazing because like for me and Sutana, we have one big brother, like but he's like growing up he was more like a father figure for us, you know? And like even now, like I talk to him about like a lot of things and like I really see him as like a father figure for me. And so like I like from a younger sibling perspective, like I'm very grateful and thankful that I had Joe in my life because like he always tells us stories about like how he would take care of us when we were younger and like I don't really remember
and you know how much is like another parent.
It is
like another
you know, like as you're saying that, Brian, I'm like, oh well, now I can see it from my brother's perspective. Like he didn't like, although we did have a dad, he wasn't there for my brother emotionally like that, and he didn't have like you said, like I feel like you have the yearning, right? Because you want that older brother love or that fatherly love, and it's like when you don't have that, I never really thought about that because when you're the younger sibling, it's like you automatically
you have that already.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
You know, I think you should celebrate being there for your brother, and you know, I'm really proud of you for being able to be there for him. Like it takes a lot of strength to be able to fill that role. Not only that, but also be aware of your own personal experience and to not want your younger siblings to miss out on that. So you know, you should celebrate that too. Like that's a really huge thing as a big brother. Like
I think it's like like you said, it should be celebrated because I've seen older siblings out there that are the opposite. Like they
don't know how to
cope with it because they are the oldest and they feel obligated to, so they turn away from it and they're not a good older sibling. You know, I've seen that around,
and they're just kind of like like download that trauma
yes
onto the next sibling. And it's like, well, I don't give a F about you because I had it worse than you, so you're not gonna get anything. You know, so it's like you're totally the opposite. And you know, I never knew that about you.
I never knew that about you.
And you know, you should celebrate that. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure your younger brother in that moment, I'm sure like it was a very core memory
absolutely
for him, for sure. Like
he's gonna remember that.
Yeah, like to have you there and then like just to support him emotionally, because I'm sure like in that moment he did not, like you said, he didn't want to play. Like it's hard to come back from a moment like that when you're like
no hope.
Yes.
So
and it's just like I said, the generation. Like, once a kid in this generation hears something that's like
they
bad,
just give up.
They give up on it.
So absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think because
like you guys as educators, I'm sure you guys see it every single day. Every single day.
Most definitely. And then also the mental side. A lot of them go through a lot of mental things at home.
Yes.
And then they come to school and they have to deal with us, or we have to deal with them.
Yeah, I think because a lot of younger generation, like newer younger generations, like below us, it's like there's not really much conversation about like mental health and like how to, not even mental health, but like how to process your emotions and how to figure out like, oh, what am I feeling and how am I gonna and how am I gonna get that out? Because like I can see that, and whenever you tell us stories about like your students too, like I'm like, damn, if I wouldn't know how to handle the students, like
right,
I would be like, oh shit, like I'm going through shit on my own, like I don't know,
like I don't even know how to handle my own emotions. How am I gonna help you?
No,
you know, that's why it is so important just to have these conversations, and like you said, to normalize these conversations. And in my opinion, so much more in boys than girls, you know what I mean? As in, like, I mean, Exhibit A, you know what I mean? Like, not a lot of men
are in tune with their emotions.
And will be, you know,
emotionally vulnerable.
And being honest. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like
true.
A lot, because they hold it all back in, and like.
That's honestly how it used to be, and then I just stopped bottling everything.
And that's good.
At some point, it's gonna explode.
That's what we always say. We literally say that all the time. Like you can keep it, like you can be like, all right, it's fine, like I'm good, like it's cool,
shove it down,
like I process this, I feel it, and then I'm gonna shove it back. No, you can keep shoving. That glass bottle is gonna break, and then at that point,
analogies, but it's so true.
At that point, when it breaks, it's like it's so hard to put the little glass pieces back together. So like just let it go, like feel it, let it come in, let it come out, and then just move on and go to the next thing.
And I think that's the one thing that we need to teach our little boys. I mean, yes, little girls too, but so much more for the boys. Because it's so hard for them. I mean, I think it's like a social norm, or what do they call it, where it's like, okay, boys got to be tough. You know what I'm saying, right? Like I don't know, is that true growing up? Like have you heard that? Oh yeah, well your boys will be boys, or you got to be tough.
Boys try to act tough.
Like it's just like something that instilled.
Like boys don't cry. Boys you gotta act tough.
If you cry, then you're weak. You're weak. You know what I'm saying? And that's just such a toxic like mindset. Because like I mean, now when you think about it, like men, you know, older generations, they are now then dealing with all these traumas and holding back in all of their, you know, like just trauma, and they can't think about it. There's no outlet for them, you know what I mean? So I don't know. That's why I was every single time on the podcast, like if we talk about something, I'm always like, yeah, girl. Oh, and boy, whoever. I would like to be inclusive, because growing up around all brothers, I mean, I don't have any sisters, you know. Growing up around all brothers, like I grew up kind of like a little boy myself, like a little tomboy. So I know how it is, and I'm like, you know, they're all just always tough, and I don't think I've ever really seen any of them cry, other than like when we were little, we're playing and, you know, we like hit each other. But then as adults, you know, like it's very, very few moments. At my brother's wedding, Song and Lisa's, he cried. Yes, it was so, like, I was trying to, like, it's funny now, but then, like, in the moment, I was, like, in shambles. It was, so Song and Lisa, they were saying their speech, right? And he started off, and just like me, so he started talking, and then I think when he got to my parents, then he couldn't go, and I was like, my brother's crying? What?
Sadie's like, why are you crying?
But then I was in shambles. And then my little brother Andy was also crying. And I was like, what? And then my mom and dad was just sitting there like, oh. Because you know how Hmong parents are. I'm sure no emotions. I'm sure my mom was obviously like, you know, like emotional, but then my dad's just like, oh, like I'm sure he felt something inside.
But his face is still like, his face is still like,
my dad's like,
your dad always has that face though. Yeah, that's what we're always like. Every time we go over, we're like, is he mad? Is he angry?
He's like, bitch, I'm paying attention to my cell phone. I know. With my little headphones.
But he used to have his little headpiece. But then Song was like in shambles.
Yeah.
And then I was like, whoa, what the heck? And then my aunt and them from all the from California, they were in shambles. So they're like, what? Song is emotional? What? And it's just, so that's proof to me that these boys grow up not having that outlet at all to let it out.
To be emotional,
you know? And I think it's so important that, you know, we practice that with the new generations. Like, for example, y'all's boys, you know. Like
I think not even just to be emotional, but just to be in tune with their feelings.
Yes.
Because I feel like when you say emotional, I think some people see it as like weak.
Yeah.
But then it's just like, just to know how to feel your feelings is like such a, I think a good trait to have.
Yes, absolutely. Like, I mean, don't wait until they're older, you know, then, because it's just not, it's all going to be bottled up. And I know quite a few boys too that are like in the teens now, and they're struggling with that, mentally. Yes. And it's gonna, like you said, mental toll. It's gonna take a mental toll on you, and it's just not healthy. It's just sad to me.
So, Brian, your role as a teacher / coach, do you feel like it's sometimes like emotionally and mentally draining on you, like seeing kids like that, like struggle like that? Like how do you process? And how do you process like seeing the kids like that? Because I know it must be hard, like seeing kids like struggle and then have to come to school and you know that they're going through shit. Like, how do you process knowing that? Like, you just try to like be positive for them, or like how do you handle that?
Because let's be honest, it takes emotional mental toll on you too. Because I mean, we tell Sadie all the time, like you're the one that's having to be that person for them
because they don't have a person.
Also, remember, like that's also having an effect on you too. So how do you unpack
I think
that?
For me is mental check-ins and mental timeouts.
I like that. Mental timeouts.
Mental check-ins is basically just checking in with a person, just seeing how they doing 1 through 10.
We started doing that because of Sadie's. Because we did.
Because a while ago, you and Graydon were posting it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Remember, y'all were like, "Hey, mental check 1 through 8," and then you would ask me, and I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Mental check." I was like, "Man, I'm good." But then I started thinking, I was like, "Wait, am I good?" So I told the girls that, and then
she stole your idea.
So that's what we stole it from.
No, really, I stole it from this podcast. I Am Athlete. Brandon Marshall.
Ooh, okay, let's at them. Okay, what's the podcast?
I Am Athlete,
and then you have The Pivot, but the original name of it is I Am Athlete. That's where it really started from. They started with mental check-in on random athletes around the U.S., whether it's race car, NASCAR driving, tennis players.
Okay, we'll tag them on our Instagram stories.
Music artists, like they'll just get random.
It's important.
Yeah, it's important to check in whether you are a guy or a girl. Just see how they doing. 1 being worse, 10 being great, but financially, mentally, and physically is our 3 that we try to, check in.
We literally
stole that from
and we do
it's
it like
a part of us.
It's a part of the podcast now
because we got it from you.
Yeah.
So that's
the timeouts is just basically you spending time with your friends, getting away from everything that may be trouble. Y'all go somewhere. Have fun, maybe go out of town or something, but don't talk about whatever the issue is. But that's really what a mental timeout is.
I like that. You guys, we need more mental timeouts.
I know. I can go on a trip.
Like our Dallas trip.
My mental timeouts will be going on trips.
Like our Giveon. Yeah. I would say our Giveon.
We still need to do that whole little spa thing you talked about.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Anyways.
Wow.
So for it to transition with the kids and the school. The mental check-ins is usually the one-on-one conversations.
Okay.
Mental timeouts, they usually go and sit in my office, and it's usually them by themselves with, low music or something. And everybody else is acting wild in the gym because I'm a PE teacher. So we tend to have fun a lot out there. So just getting away from everybody and separating yourself and putting yourself in a room by yourself, or if you need someone to talk to, that's really how I deal with them almost every day.
I like that.
Because I'm thinking about like when I was a kid and younger like that,
there was
I don't think we didn't have anybody like that, and
like no safe person.
I really don't. Yeah, I'm trying to think back when I was in school. I honestly don't think I remember having that, something like, or even a teacher to specifically ask.
I would be lying if I say we didn't have it. We did have one, and then guess what? Went to foster care the next day or the same day. So I don't really
because you let it out too much.
It wasn't me, but
yeah, no, dude, that is what it was. Because we finally had someone to talk to about it.
Was it a counselor?
Yeah, it was a counselor. But then whenever we talked to them, then the next day they're like, we were in foster care, and I was like,
yeah. So I don't really trust issues.
Yeah,
trauma.
Anyways. I never thought about it like that.
Well, see what happens when
you
open up. I'm just kidding.
I mean, you know, it was
not kidding.
All for safety issues.
Yeah.
But then
yeah.
No, because I'm trying to think. When I was in elementary, I think we had a counselor. I just never really
talked.
Well, I don't remember the counselor doing a whole lot.
Or just like having that teacher that was that was there for you.
Really
I think I didn't have that till high school.
I would say
until high school.
Yeah. I would say middle school, Mr. Bus.
Middle school?
My 5th grade teacher.
Yeah. I stole candy from him.
I'm Facebook friends with him.
All the time. I went to his little his little file cabinet drawer.
Bubble.
I knew at the bottom that's where all the candy was. I always stole candy from him. Sorry, Mr. Bus.
Off tangent, but
anyway. But yeah, I love the
personal low music.
Just to be clear too, so you teach high school. No, middle school or high school?
Last year was high school art. This year is middle school PE because I was transitioning from the assistant coach. Well, I was still the assistant coach for the high school football team, but just to get closer to the middle school kids, they wanted to put me in middle school PE, so that made more sense.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't you go to school? Oh no, you didn't go to school there.
I didn't. That was actually my friend.
Yeah, so he was telling me that.
Yeah, he's actually the head coach for our varsity program that's coming back to Daniel Webster next year. So.
And he actually went to school there.
Yes, he actually went to school there.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, Daniel Webster, it's been without a high school varsity football program for about 2 to 3 years.
Really?
So, yeah,
is it because of funding? Like, do you know?
I think it is a lot of funding and maybe what is it? Eligibility wise too.
Okay.
Yeah.
For kids. Okay.
For kids.
Like the criteria. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, but we're not gonna touch on that.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that I appreciate Everett Davis for bringing me a part of
Everett.
Yes.
bringing me a part of the program, and
yeah.
We changing it, and honestly, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun. Next year it's gonna be real exciting because we already putting together a varsity program, and we already put it together. We putting a schedule together, and we already have 7 games. So
I feel like this is gonna be such a good thing for you because I feel like you are literally building this from the ground up.
Yes.
Like you and Everett. Sorry, but I feel like it's like you guys are building this from a ground up. So it's like you guys' baby. You're molding it into what you want it to be.
I thought of it that way.
Yeah, like especially if they haven't had one for years, and then now to have it
I feel like that's very special because you guys are literally
I feel like it's a movie.
No, what it is, guys, is it's a full circle moment.
It is a full circle moment because your college thing got taken away from you, and then full circle.
I never thought of it that way.
Wow, I never thought of it like that too.
Wow. Okay, she
on her therapist shit.
Yes, she is.
Well, I'm saying I'm sure you feel very happy and proud and just able to. I feel like now that we've learned to know you a little bit more, and I never knew this side of you, and I never really knew your backstory. So just getting to know that and just knowing you now on this side, I feel like you're a very caring person. You're a family man. You're passionate about football.
Yep.
You love Sadie.
I think mainly too, all of the silent struggles that you went through, silent struggles, because they were very silent,
and that made you who you are today. And it's and being able, I was just thinking as you're saying we're building it from the ground up. I couldn't imagine anybody else starting it from the ground up.
What better person?
You're such a great choice because of all the things you've been through. And I think these kids that are gonna have you, in the future or on the team, I think that they're very blessed to have you as a coach. And
for sure.
You're a really caring individual, and
passionate.
That's pretty cool.
Caring and passionate. Yeah.
You know, that's pretty awesome. From the ground up. That's something to be proud of.
Yeah. I'm excited.
That's something to be absolutely something to be proud of too. That's a flex.
That's your man's.
That's my man. We were talking about this and like I said, obviously I know a lot of things about you already, but I'm so glad that we got the chance to do this because I can literally see it from a different perspective now, you know? And I think it's just important about how, and I've always known that you are obsessed with football. Like you literally breathe, live, bleed football, right? Yeah. And I used to be like, why? It's just a sport. And my brother also loves football, as you know, song, you know, and I'm like, why do you guys like, it's just a sport, whatever. But now seeing it from that point of view, you know, like you said, that is your outlet. That's how you let everything out. And I can see and understand why now. And like how we said earlier, it's not just a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And it's part of, what did you say, identity. It's literally like football. Like, yeah, you're not identified as a football. But then when you think about football, or when you think about Brian, then you know that football.
Football is one of the identifiers.
That's what I think about when I think about Brian. I think about football.
Literally, everything football. Like he knows everything about football. I remember one time we went to Oklahoma City for I think his birthday trip, and we were just walking around at nighttime, and he was like explaining it, like breaking it down to a T, and I'm like, you were so knowledgeable of this. I was like, damn, no wonder you're a coach. I was like, everything you do just has to be around football. And if you know something so well, whether if it's football or whatever it is, and you can break it down, then you're a great teacher. Then it makes it easier for you to kind of like teach other things because you know how to break it down to a way where people can understand. You know what I mean? So I was like, dang. I was like, yeah.
If he could teach it to you, he could teach it to anybody.
Right? Shut up. But then no, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But
if you could tell your younger self, like anything, any words of advice or anything, like what would you tell your younger self? Like a piece of advice or just something. Now as like where you are right now.
Don't hold back. Whatever you want in life, go after it, because shoot, it's the only thing that's standing in between that is you versus you.
You versus you.
I don't see nobody but me. Who am I gonna lose to? Who says that?
Look in the mirror. What?
You don't know who says that?
No.
Take a look in the mirror, say what's up.
No, that's
wrong song, sis. There is the song, and I mentioned this before too. The You versus You by, is it Gotti? No, it's not Gotti. I said it wrong. Okay, it's
me versus me.
Me versus me. Never mind. It's me versus. It is Gotti though.
No,
it's not Gotti. Okay, what does it start with?
Lil Durk.
No, it's not. What does it start with?
You guys know I don't listen to rap.
You really do. Grape or orange?
Orange.
Okay.
Favorite football team.
Favorite football team.
Come on. Give y'all that one out right now.
He said he can't get that one right now.
Okay.
Mountain Dew or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Ooh, really? Pepsi or Coke?
Mountain Dew, I don't like it.
Pepsi or Coke?
Okay.
Sweet tea or unsweet tea?
Sweet tea.
Ooh.
Canes or churches?
No.
Why you do that?
Come on.
For me, churches.
Church has been around for years.
Yeah.
I can't change.
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A or McDonald's?
Chick-fil-A.
Flats or drums?
Flats.
Oh.
Good choice. Let's see what else.
Buffalo or ranch? Buffalo or ranch?
Ranch.
Ooh.
She's not gonna get ranch, so she's gonna get buffalo.
I hate ranch.
So I'll have both anyway.
Really appreciate you being here and being the first
male
guest.
I think you set some great expectations.
Some good, You got big shoes to fill for the next person. Danny.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and being open and being vulnerable.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
I appreciate the invite, and y'all keep doing what y'all doing because y'all about to blow up.
Oh,
period.
Hey, we didn't say it. He did.
No, but really, thank you, Brian, for telling us your personal life and diving deep into your life.
It's not easy to do.
It's not easy to do, and opening up. I think a lot of people can maybe going through that silent struggle too.
Yes, absolutely.
So, definitely.
So as always, we upload every Monday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can find us at 116 Hotline on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yes.
So make sure you guys stay tuned next week for a new episode. And if you guys like this episode, let us know what you liked. Leave us a comment, share, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys.
Thank you again, Brian. Just one more time.
Thank you, Brian, one more time. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.